Well, hello there. Getting ready for After GMS, which is live on the WFMY News 2 Facebook page right now. Good morning and thank you for joining us on After GMS. It is Thursday, June 9th. I'm Tracy McCain here with Christian Morgan and Megan Millaris.
Welcome. Come on in. Join us here on the WFMY News 2 live feed. We have a conversation for you coming up about decluttering your email. How many emails would you say are in your inbox right now? We'll let you think about that or go check. What you have a lot, I think. You guys talked about it earlier on the show and it was a bit of a joke. All right, let's get started.
The forecast, Christian. Let's pull it together. We just started. We have so much more to do.
I know, so much more to do. Let's talk about the weather. It's warm and it's muggy outside right now. Clouds and sun kicking us off across the Piedmont. Really more sun than clouds now. We had a lot more cloud cover early on this morning. Of course, the biggest piece of energy from our big weather system pushed by the triad yesterday, that's what brought us scattered showers and thunderstorms. Now the cold front is pushing by our area today. And without that big source of energy, you're mostly going to notice the cold front moving by quietly. What you will notice, though, as we head into this evening is the drier air moving in. So as we go throughout the afternoon and into the evening, the dew points are really going to fall off. So it's going to feel a lot better to be outside this evening, and especially by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, it's going to be quite refreshing outside. Of course, just a short brief break in that humidity for your Friday, then heading into the weekend, another system will head our way. Just a little hiccup as we kick off the weekend in the form of scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm for your Saturday morning through midday, and then we're drying things out heading into your Saturday afternoon. After that, the rest of the weekend will be nice, and a few days heading into next week will be nice as well. Even though the humidity falls off today, it's still a warm day of weather as we climb into the mid-80s. And notice, by the time we get into tonight, our dew points are going to go from the upper 60s where they are right now to the mid and upper 50s heading into the overnight hours. And that will actually allow us to cool things off a little bit more than we have the last couple mornings as well. So we drop down into the 50s overnight heading into Friday morning, even low to mid 50s for some of our friends over in the foothill and mountain communities as well. It's just a quick shot of rain Saturday morning, likely amounting to about 1/4 inch of rain or less. So not a big rainmaker if you're looking to get some rain across the Piedmont. Sunday's a nice day of weather, mid 80s and still pretty low humidity, or at least at bay. And then heading into next week, hope you're ready. The heat is on. Several days in the 90s are in our future, ladies.
All right, let's get right to our top story this morning. The body camera footage of a deadly Greensboro officer-involved shooting is now public. The police department released it last night, showing the incident that happened last November.
The shooting happened 4 days after a previous incident where police say Joseph Lopez barricaded himself inside of a home on Cloverdale Drive in Greensboro. Eventually, a crisis negotiator from the Guilford County Sheriff's Office talked Lopez into surrendering. A few days later, police returned to the house to serve additional warrants related to that previous incident. That time, police say Lopez was not there.
But officers returned to the house after the homeowner said Lopez was trying to get inside. Hamilton's attorney said Lopez's girlfriend called police. Investigators say police then found Lopez in a shed behind the house. So what happens next is the premise of the investigation, and this morning we're taking a closer look at that 3 hours worth of body camera footage from that night.
Our ITV's McMiller breaks down what the footage shows happened right before and after the shooting.
Well, we've cut the 3-hour-long body cam video into a 2-minute timeline that shows what led to the officer firing the deadly shot that took 29-year-old Joseph Lopez's life. The video shows former officer Matthew Hamilton outside of the shed door with his canine. Hamilton warns Lopez that if he doesn't come out with his hands up, he'd send the canine in. The former officer held to his promise and entered the shed when Lopez didn't show. Lopez yells out, but we can't make out exactly what he says. Then, in the poorly lit shed, Hamilton fires one shot. The video is graphic and could be disturbing, so we're going to pause the video here just before Hamilton fires a shot. After firing the shot, Hamilton tells officers on the scene Lopez had something in his hands. Officers and EMS tried to save Lopez's life, but he died. The NCSBI launched an investigation into the incident. Hamilton was placed on administrative duty during the investigation. This week, the report presented to a grand jury resulted in Matthews being indicted on manslaughter charges, and GPD fired him. Hamilton turned himself in yesterday and was booked and released shortly after. Here's what the attorney representing Hamilton had to say about his firing.
This is unfair. It's not consistent with North Carolina law, nor is it consistent with standard practice.
Lopez's family filed a civil suit against the police department and Hamilton for excessive force. The family's attorney says Lopez's death was unjust.
The reality is that Joseph Lopez was sitting terrified in a chair 15 feet away from Hamilton when Hamilton first sicked his dog on him, and then within seconds, without announcing any intent to use force, fired and hit Joseph Lopez right smack in the face.
And the Greensboro Police Department will conduct an internal investigation into the shooting.
All right, so Greensboro police say the next steps in the investigation entail the Professional Standards Division, who's going to conduct an internal investigation.
The department issued a statement saying that the department will continue to follow all local and state policies to ensure fairness and transparency during the investigations. Now, the final results of the former officer's investigation will be reported to the Greensboro police chief. Keep in mind, Greensboro has an interim chief who will get the results if they come in before a new chief is hired. The Professional Standards Division handles internal investigations. They look into complaints against police officers, among other things. The division's goal is to establish and maintain the public's trust. There are hours of body camera video to comb through. You can see it in its entirety and stay up to date on the investigation on WFMYnews2.com.
All right, so some of you already weighing in on this. We are asking you in our social conversation of the day, how many emails are piled up in your inbox right now? We get a lot of emails, to say the least, some more than others. Savings, coupons, school teachers, events, places you've subscribed maybe unknowingly to all these years later. But do you really read all of them? And what do you do with them afterward?
We're getting into that conversation here this morning, and we want you to weigh in on our feed. And while you type in your answers, we do have a few tips to help you declutter those inboxes and make you feel better.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So there are 3 tricks that work no matter what email service that you use. First, go to the search bar in your email, search for companies or brands that you interact with a lot. You don't need all of those old notifications, so make sure you get rid of it because it's just clutter.
Also try this in your email. Click inside the search bar. That'll bring up all the results that have an attachment taking up space. Then you can search for emails using keywords as well.
One last trick, click unsubscribe. To most newsletters, shopping ads, all these come with this option. A good rule of thumb is to scroll past the emails without reading them. If you do that, then you should probably unsubscribe.
For more tips and tricks, you can head to our website, WFMYnews2.com. Find this story in the Two Wants to Know tab.
It's always down there in the fine print, unsubscribe, and it's really, really faint. You have to zoom in on it to click.
Sometimes I find when I unsubscribe, I'm still subscribed.
Me too. Or I'll unsubscribe and they'll say, hey, thank you. We know that you've unsubscribed. I'm like, I know, now stop.
Right, but you're still sending me an email.
You're still sending me an email.
I feel like, unsubscribe is supposed to happen, but there was one time this, at work, we get a lot of subscriptions to different, groups and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, this is too much.
Yeah.
So I unsubscribed like 6 times and still get email from them. And they even ask you like, why are you unsubscribing? Because I never signed up. I don't know how you got my email or why you're sending me this thing, but I don't want it.
There's usually a little selection there that says, why are you unsubscribing? And one of them is like, I get too many emails from you. And like, I always click that one.
And they still send it.
Yeah. They make it intentionally hard for you to press that unsubscribe button. So I've gotten to the point where I just stopped trying to unsubscribe and I just delete them because it's faster.
Yeah. Or make sure like you notify them, I guess, I don't know. There's a way that you can like mark emails as like junk before they even come into your email box. I forgot.
It's almost like a learned thing. Like once you do it enough, it starts sending all of those to your spam folder or your junk folder.
But sometimes I find that emails that I actually need to read are in that junk and spam folder, and I can't figure out, what keywords would have put it in that destination. So it is important to check those folders too sometimes, especially if someone says, hey, I sent you this, and you think, well, I never got that, I don't remember reading that. Normally it's in junk or spam.
And you're onto something, because it's better to delete as you go than to try to do a massive delete, because that just takes forever. You can't mark them all. You have to individually like go through and mark them. It's just a huge waste of time.
It is.
Which is why I have 22,000 in one email box and 10,000 in another email box, personal ones. My work one is clear, so if you email me here, I will respond to you very quickly. And my inbox is like spotless, but work, that's work. Personal, I don't know. There's so many coupons, evites, all these things that, I'm just like, okay.
We get so many emails a day, in news. You get so many a day. They're constant. And, I feel like through the day, I'm just sitting there like swiping that. Because a lot of them are useful to some people, but maybe not useful to other people. And we get so many, and if you don't keep up with them here, you can come in after a weekend and have several hundred emails and have to go through all those on a Monday.
Right. That's why on maternity leave, I felt I like periodically had to check, because I didn't want to come back after that amount of time off and just be inundated with emails, and the important stuff is lost in the shuffle.
Right.
So
I just asked them to remove me.
I should have done that.
Remove me from
Noted.
this.
I'm like, I'm not checking this. I'm not going to clear it when I get back. I don't want to have to deal with it. This is my time to be with my family. Let me just cut it off at the pass.
Yeah.
Right. So I omitted about my several thousand emails in one of my email boxes, and Deborah Williams said, don't feel bad, I have over 10,000 in my box, can't get them all deleted, because it's almost impossible, Deborah. It's so many. So I'm right there with you. And Meg, you asked this question too.
Like what do you do with them after you delete them? Let's see, Sheree says mostly delete because they're wanting me to spend money.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Deborah said don't feel bad. That was in response to you, as you mentioned. Some of these comments are a little bit out of order, but the general consensus is that once they come in, deleting is probably the best way to go, unless you need it for later and need a reference back. And I've gotten into trouble with that too, where I don't need this email right now, but then I go back to look for a reference or a phone number, point of contact, and I don't have it anymore.
I do that too. I'm like, now I have to go search it, and I try to remember what the subject line was or what keyword was in it, and then I have to go through a bunch. Yeah. Sometimes you delete things you didn't mean. Everything that I want, or that's at least useful or necessary, I keep it for maybe a year or two, and then I clean it out.
That's a good thought.
That is a good way to have it.
It really does slow down your computer. The more emails you have. Sometimes if my computer is running at a snail's pace, that's the first thing I'll check is my email. Not only what's in the inbox, but what's in the deleted folder.
Yeah.
Because even if it's deleted, it's still there until you delete the deleted items. So
it's like the hold category almost.
Yeah. I don't know. I might just get rid of my personal email anyway. I don't really need it. Usually all my kids' school stuff, I have it coming to my work email just because it's reliable.
Right.
The server is reliable, and I don't have to worry about, the same things that I would have to worry about with Yahoo. There was like a breach recently, or a year or two ago, and I was just like, after that, I was just like, you know what? I don't know.
I've often thought about just wiping out a couple personal accounts I have and starting a new one. That way, all of my spam stuff and things I'm trying to unsubscribe from go away, and just give it out to the important stuff, like the, banking and that sort of stuff.
I've also stopped giving my email out when I go to stores, and they're like, can we have your email? And I'm like, why is that?
No.
They're like, oh, well, we can help you find your products this way, and we can send you suggestions. I'm like, no, it doesn't sound like I'm interested.
It doesn't work.
I would say no, thank you.
No.
Just let them look me up by the phone number or
They're
card,
selling it.
something. Yeah.
All right, so thank you so much for participating in this conversation. Let's talk about the forecast one more time, because 90s are on the way back eventually.
They are, yes. And humid this morning, but it won't be this evening. How does that work? Well, we have a cold front on the way this afternoon, but the biggest piece of energy that would give us any rain or storms is now a good ways away from us. So we look to stay dry for the rest of the day. I've kept that 20% chance in for this morning. A few folks got a sprinkle or a stray shower. But the lower humidity will start to build in this evening. You'll notice that will fall into the 50s overnight with a partly cloudy sky. Friday's a nice day of weather. Low humidity, low 80s for afternoon highs. That's a good day. And then we kick off the weekend with a few showers, maybe a storm for your Saturday morning. After that, drying things out. The rest of the weekend is good, and 90s, plenty of them are on the way next week. So the heat is on as we head further and further into summer.
All right, sounds good. So stay cool today. Make sure you drink a
cool.
lot of fluid.
Yep.
It's just that time of year.
Sure is.
All right, now I'm looking forward to tomorrow because it will be better.
Oh yeah.
Feel more comfortable.
Tomorrow morning's going to be so nice and refreshing.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us on After GMS. We'll be right back here tomorrow on the WFMY News 2 Facebook page for more great conversations and headlines.
See you.